Are we waiting on Eric or not?
He said he's going to.
Okay, we're gonna call to order June 28th meeting of the Board of Zoning Adjustment.
Hold on, Adam, what was the case of state law?
046 Cherry Street.
Okay. If this is the first time here, we hear two types of cases. We hear zoning variance requests, special permit requests, and then we also hear appeals. So we have two appeals on the agenda. We hear those first. We hear from the city and then from the home owner. And then when we get into the variance requests, we will hear from the city and then the applicant. And then we also allow for interested parties, neighbors, et cetera, to speak about the application for or against. Each person has 3 minutes to do that. The applicant has 5 minutes to present their case. And we are usually pretty lenient in time if we take up that time with questions. If you know that you're going to speak tonight, when you come up, there's a sign-in sheet up here. You can print your name legibly for the court reporter. That helps her to know who was actually speaking. And when you get up front, you will tell me whether you've been sworn in. And to expedite that process, I will swear everybody in as a group. So if you know you're going to speak later on, if you please stand, raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give tonight will be the truth and nothing but the truth. Please state I do. Thank you. Do we have any preliminary matters?
Yes, we have one tabling request, BZA 22-046 on Cherry Street.
What number is that?
8. The applicant here?
Is the applicant for 1550 East Cherry Street here?
So, Mr. That's. I mean, it's not the, this table.
His owner. David Hall.
046 Cherry Street. That's just what I saw.
Yeah, he's out there on the phone. Mr. Hodge, are you representing 1550 East Cherry Street?
No, I think that was maybe a mistake on the agenda. I saw that earlier today. I'm not sure that's the case. That's not.
Oh, okay, so you can go back.
Okay.
Matt is the architect. Matt Toddy here.
Sorry,
So your name's on there. I said,
Your name's
"I'm
on here,
up-
so-"
Oh, he's gotta be here somewhere.
okay, so what are we gonna do with this
I guess we'll call it when it comes up.
Okay.
Adam and-
one? Okay, so our first appeal is, which, is there a special order for these?
There's one too.
Okay. They're not numbered, that's.
Oh,
Oh, the one's on her desk.
yeah, it was.
McKinley Avenue's number 1.
No,
Oh, wait.
1779 East Main Street.
Is number one?
Yeah.
Okay. 1779 East Main Street, appeal, is the city.
Tim, no.
Yes.
Is the appellant here?
Is the property owner here?
I hadn't seen.
Here.
That means he's.
So, let's see, what is
I'm
this?
sorry. I have,
Or notices sent and received back.
I did not get a card back from the appellant on this one. I do not have good service. I didn't get the letter back either, but I don't have good service for that one.
I guess we just have to postpone that one.
Okay.
Put it on service. Okay.
Postponed. Next, 4333 Chessford Road. It's like all parties here.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
grab a chair up here, is that okay?
Oh, perfect.
Stick. I think I doesn't make sure I can put it.
Okay, can you state your name for the record?
Lisa Doyle.
Okay, and take us through your exhibit packet?
Well, first exhibit is just
Yeah, you gotta,
a little bit
let's
closer.
look close, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Nope, this is it on.
Here we go.
Now it's on.
There you go.
So exhibit A is just a copy of all the orders that were sent out to all parties. Better?
There.
There we go. Tell the parties for what was in violation at the time the order was written. The only two that were appealed was for the inoperable vehicles and lack of zoning clearance. Those are only two sections that are being appealed today.
You said 2 sections or 1 section?
Two sections. The inoperable vehicles, which would be 3312.37 and zoning clearance 3305.01.
Okay.
Exhibit B is just a copy of the posting pictures showing that service was done at the property. Exhibit C is a copy of our property sequence report, which basically put all of our notes in. I've been to the property multiple times, walked through it with the regional manager and some of the other people to show them what needed to be done at the property. Exhibit D, they had asked for an extension when we granted it. A copy of the extension letter. The next day, we received a request for an appeal of those two code sections. So the next exhibit would be the request for the appeal. Exhibit F, the first one is the code section in question for inoperable vehicles, but when I inspected on June 22nd, they had removed 18 vehicles for the regional manager, and they were in compliance with that code section.
I'm sorry, how many vehicles?
They towed out 18, I think it said, when I was there. So there was no inoperable vehicles when I was there on June 22nd. So the other code section is exhibit of zoning clearance. There have been some changes at the properties over the year. They've added, there's been dumpsters have been added, a bulk area, and the striping has changed for the parking lots and spaces removed for the areas where the dumpsters were placed. So exhibit G is the pictures I took on June 22nd. The first one is showing where there's two dumpsters, where there used to be parking there in the past, and a fenced off bulk area. The next picture is just again showing the fenced off bulk area and one of the dumpsters. The third picture is a different section of the parking lot where 3 dumpsters have been installed, where there was parking spaces in the past. And the last picture from June 22nd is again showing those 3 dumpsters on the asphalt there. When I originally inspected, because I had a complaint about potholes on the outside, I had noticed
About
that
what?
potholes on the outside of the parking lot. I noticed that all their dumpsters were on cement except for these particular sections, which is what caught my attention to go back through the history to look at the property or aerials.
So what's the issues with the dumpster? What's the violation there?
They didn't get certificate of zoning clearance
Oh,
from, yeah, because they are required through building and zoning services to have the dumpsters, locations, and enclosures approved by zoning. They tell you where you can put them, where you can't put them. So any addition of any dumpsters would require zoning clearance along with building a fenced off bulk area or reducing your and changing your striping of your parking lot.
Were they the owner of record when all of that was done?
When some of it was done, yes. So exhibit H is just the aerials I went through. I tried to keep them together so the first set is just the dumpster area. So you can see the changes over the years there. And the next set will be that area where the parking lot was changed and dumpsters installed. So the first one was from 2005. You can see there's a slight fencing between the grass area and the cement pad. And you can see 2 dumpsters in the parking spaces there. Then I jumped to December 4th of 2009. Again, just that one little tiny space of fencing. And you still see the striped parking spaces. I was understanding that they took over in 2010, so I had a picture from 2011 from the same bulk area. You can see more dumpsters and a lot of trash in that area, but still no bulk area fencing. And with November 15th of 2012, you can see there's no fencing around that bulk area. Now there's only one dumpster on that side. And then come April 9th of 2014, you see there's now 4 dumpsters on that one side of the asphalt and a fenced off bulk area.
And there's no zoning plans for any of these years?
No, no zoning clearance. So the next picture was in that area where the parking was reduced, a different section further down. And you see where it's showing you where there's 2 approved dumpsters on cement and then the parking spaces by that building. 2009, there's the same thing, dumpsters where they belong on the cement pad, parking where the parking was.
Where's the dumpsters on the cement pad?
So if you're on December 1st of 2009 picture, there's the big red
Oh, the big
arrow.
arrow.
Those 2 are right there. That's the approved dumpster area.
Okay.
Then we jump to November 25th of 2011. You can now see that there's 2 dumpsters where that red arrow is, where the parking spaces are. And then in 2014, again, you can see the bottom arrow is where the approved area is, where the cement is, and the dumpsters are still up there in that area. And then the pictures I took on June 22nd, there's now 3 dumpsters in that area instead of the 2 that was there in 2014. So it's just our stance that there have been modifications and changes to the site, even since they've taken ownership, that they have not gotten zoning clearance for.
Okay. State your name, whether or not you've been sworn in.
My name is Dimitri Hatzifotinos. I'm an attorney. I work at Willis Law Firm here in Columbus, and yes, I have been sworn in.
Okay, go ahead.
I appreciate everybody's time this evening. The city's been trying to kind of push for affordable housing, and this is an affordable housing complex of 270 units. The purpose of us being here today is to tell you that, number one, since we took over in 2010, we've tried to benefit the community by putting in more dumpsters and doing more things. Ultimately, all the pictures that were just shown show the site. Apparently, a citation was issued earlier this year for lack of zoning clearance. And I don't think zoning clearance is required here. And I think that what the code officer is really saying is that she wants somebody to come out and see if the dumpsters need a pad. She never asked us to remove the dumpsters. I suppose we could. She never asked us to put a pad on. I suppose we could do that too. In the other cases that I've been involved with, where a dumpster is located somewhere, somebody comes out and interacts and says, hey, move the dumpster or do whatever you need to do to make a pad or do whatever. In this particular case, we are here because of zoning clearance. And here's exactly what your code says. A certificate of zoning clearance is required and shall be obtained from the director prior to the construction or alteration of any building or structure, the establishment, change, or modification in use of any building, structure, or land, or the grading, excavating, or filling of land. We have not graded or excavated land. We have not filled land. We have not changed the use or modified the use of land. We have not altered or constructed any building or structure. Everybody knows what a building is, but I will read to you what your code says a structure is. Structure does not include a dumpster or fence, just so we're clear. Structure means a combination of materials, including a building, to form a construction that is safe and stable, including but not limited to stadium, gospel, or circus tent, reviewing stand, platform, staging, observation tower, shed, coal bin, or fence in excess of 6 feet. This is not
Ms. Doyle did present some documentation to prove changes and modifications have been made throughout the history of time. So when they took over ownership of the property, one of the things is to make sure we don't change our parking spaces, their locations, restriping, minimizing them, reducing, and or adding dumpster areas, bulk areas,